All your gray is drainage, or what was the three letters they used?
DWB.
DWV, drain, waste, and vent. Alright, so this would be for a tub, that would be a drain pipe, lavatory, drain pipe, kitchen sink, drain pipe. I guess they don't have a drain on the laundry tub. And then we got a waste pipe on our water closet. Now, I know you know nothing about it, that picture look right. I told you it's wrong, but what about that picture would be wrong?
What could be wrong?
What could be wrong, yeah?
Should it have another vent pipe and 2 vents?
No, you can do it, all that in one single bin. It's right here on the water closet. Alright, water closet connects, comes over, vents up, drains down. But what it has right now is what's considered a wet vent. Okay, and I'll get more in detail as semesters go along, or time goes along, of why that's wrong, alright? But we cannot wet vent in Kentucky, alright? Wet venting means that you are venting, through the drain from another picture, okay? So, you got all these fixture drains that are coming down and actually putting water into the vent for the water flow. Alright, now, National Code allows that, Kentucky doesn't. The reason that Kentucky doesn't like it is we get all those dumping at the same time, it can pull water out of that water closet, alright?
Create its own vacuum.
Right, so that water that's making that in the water closet and the water in all our traps is our water seal. That prevents all that air from, foul air, sewer gas, whatever, coming back in the house. So if we pull anything out of that, then we're breaking that seal, alright? We'll talk more about traps and how they work and the ways that we can, or the ways that you can create a trap seal loss. So we'll go into that later, alright? Water supply in blue, typically you'd have two different colors for a broken line, which they don't really differentiate between hot and cold, so on this one, we just go by that. Alright, so our water supply system, pressure pipes and fittings, alright, we use pressure pipes and fittings in our water supply system. We can use the same type of materials in both systems sometimes, okay, we'll go through each type of material and we'll determine which ones can be used where. Alright, drainage, or our DWV system. DWV is drain, waste, and vent. It's non-pressure pipe and fittings, but again, we're using the same materials, and a lot of the same materials have a pressure rating on it, but we do have some material in the drainage system that are not rated for pressure, okay? Mainly because water supply system, we've always got pressure to it. Always got water pressure, can range from 60 to 100 pounds. 60 at a normal working pressure to 100 at a peak time when nobody's using any water. You can peak up to 100 pounds in some areas, depending on where you're at and on the water distribution side of it. If you're close to a water tower, far from a water tower, actually, the farther you are from a water tower, sometimes the more pressure you have. It's kind of and we'll talk more about that later too. Alright, I don't wanna cram too much into you right now. The same materials can be used to make, different grades of pipe and fittings for water supply and DWV system. Plastic types. Anybody wanna try to say that? Acrylonitrile butadiene, right?
ABS pipe.
ABS pipe, alright? Acrylonitrile butadiene. I won't ever ask you to spell it or anything like that unless you just wanna say ABS pipe. Alright, used for DWB piping. DWB grade required for plumbing, service grade for non-code applications. Non-code applications would be, downspout drains, things like that, non-code. Service grade, sizes range from 1.25 to 12 inches, is black in color. We won't see a lot of ABS in this area, unless you get into some mobile homes. Mobile homes made in a different area will use ABS pipe because that's what's more readily available. Alright. PVC, or polyvinyl chloride, alright, pressure pipe for water distribution, irrigation, and similar applications, or a DWB grade from 1.25 to 12 inches in diameter. It's white, grade printed on the pipe, and PVC molded in, can be molded into fittings. Not suitable for hot water. Alright, so our white PVC pipe is for cold water applications only. Alright, we would use that possibly from the meter to the house, or in our irrigation system, we'll use, PVC, and all throughout our drain, waste, and vent. Alright, when we get, to the source, typically we branch off inside. When we get to the house, we branch off of that PVC to different materials. Alright, chlorinated polyvinyl chloride, or CPVC. That is suitable for hot water and cold. 100 PSI at 180 degrees Fahrenheit. It's kind of tan in color, or kind of cream. Identification print along the length of the pipe may be installed for both hot and cold water supply to avoid using two different types of pressure pipe and fittings. So we could run PVC for all of our cold inside the house, but we're gonna have one size fittings for that, and transitions would be a nightmare because they're not really made for that. Schedule 40 PVC is not made for water distribution throughout the house, so we can go CPVC. CPVC is my most disliked plastic, or disliked distribution pipe, because you're having to glue it together. You got a wait time on getting here, and just feel like highlighted when you get time. So you got a wait time for it to set up. Typically, they want 24 hours on most glues. They do go together similar to PVC in what's called a solvent welded joint. So we're actually welding the pipes together using chemicals. Some glues will, some CPVC glues will say that it's a one-step, that you don't need that primer. Depending on the plumbing inspector himself, is whether or not he'll let you buy with that. Alright, most of the time they want like a purple primer, and the glue is normally orange for CPVC. Doesn't use the same glue and primer that we use for PVC, okay? Unless the bottle says